Start your engines. This is sportsbookreview.com, and this is your Major League Baseball show for Thursday, August 13th, 2020. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're ready to put some more money in your pocket. How about this? A nice half-hour sprint show. We got 5 games, Jason. We can relax. We can take our time. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well, but 2 straight sweeps for me, 3-0
Damn.
on both days.
Yeah.
So that feels good. But sorry to announce that I will not have 3 games today. So it's going to be a little bit smaller of a sweep, but we'll get that sweep.
Hey, come on, man. You could take first 5 innings. You take full game. You could take run line. You could take reverse run line. We can get these 3 games all wrapped up in one game possible. For me, I sat on my couch last night. I enjoyed the Flyers in the NHL beating the Canadians. But you know what I didn't enjoy? The Phillies going 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, having 10 hits and not getting their total against the Orioles. Come on now. We're going to get that back today, I do promise. But, guys, you do know, look, 52 people already in here, 30 seconds into the show. We do thank you for that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. If that subscribe button on your screen right now on YouTube is still red, you're not doing us a service. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Every single time Jason and I go live on the Major League Baseball show, Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m., you'll get it delivered directly. And also, everybody asks a lot. They still come in the chat box. Jason, where can we follow you on Twitter? Where can we find your stuff? It's look no further. SBRpicks.com/MLB. Every single thing you need to put more money in your pocket during Major League Baseball season right here at sportsbookreview.com. And we got some time to relax and get off. And how about, Jason, your Mets right now, even though we're not going to cap this game, 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. And it could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, Jeff McNeil with a great catch. And we'll see if he'll stay in this game or be okay in the future. Looked like he banged his knee on the wall with a big grab to save 3 or 4 runs in that game. So, good on McNeil. The Mets don't look too promising to start off the game, but, I did say this game would go over. So if you want some live action, maybe hit the over before it's too late.
No, you're exactly right. We'll keep an eye on that game. It's just nice to have Major League Baseball in the afternoon with the live show, having some live baseball going on. I know last time we had the Minnesota Twins and the Pittsburgh Pirates a few days ago, and some people were updating us in the chat box. So if anything happens here, look, me and Jason try to stay focused here with the blinders on to help you guys in the chat box. But if somebody does score, yell it out right here, and we'll certainly give an update on the screen. Why don't we get to this 5-pack of games? And as much as it pains to hurt me here, we are going to go to the city of brotherly love, 9:55, 9:56, 4:05 start to an afternoon action game. Pinnacle opened this up here, Jason, at 10 as a total. It now sits mostly 9.5 across the board, but you're going to pay a premium if you want the Philadelphia Phillies today. Jake Arrieta, who's been solid to open the season. Eshelman, one of those guys I like to call a tomato can throughout his career, was also in the Phillies farm system just a few years ago. If we're looking at opening lines, 180 offshore, that's ballooned to 194 at Pinnacle, 190 at Chris, 190 at 5 dimes. So almost 2-1 for a Philadelphia Phillies team that when we watch the bullpen, sometimes you scratch your head. But this game really is going to come down to if the Phillies bats wake up and just perform average versus Eshelman today. In xFIP this year, Jason, already over 5 limited starts. But if you flip back to 2019, a couple hundred batters, he's the same pitcher. In xFIP over 5, doesn't strike out a lot of batters can really get attacked from the left-hand side. It's got to be the Phillies. And for me, shopping around is very important. Some books out there will give you a 5.5 Phillies line with a plus 105. But if you shop around to get the line you want, FanDuel, New Jersey, the Phillies team total sitting at 5, minus 122. I'm going to roll with that. They have to be able to hit Eshelman today, Jason.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page. I also have Phillies over 5. So, look no further. This is an official play for me. Phillies over 5 team total. Eshelman, a 6.1 FIP ERA of 3.68. Been extremely lucky in his first 2 starts. Look back to his former outing last season. Didn't look great in any of his starts or relief outings last season. He's allowed 6 hits and 7.1 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts and 1 walk, 15 fly balls and just 7 ground balls. Last season, he had a batting average of 313. Righties hit him with a 360 average in 92 at-bats. So it's a bigger sample size than you might think with that number. So, this guy doesn't get many ground balls, low strikeout rate, high Sierra, high ERA, of course, as well. And the Phillies, they don't strike out. They strike out the least against righties this season. So with a guy that doesn't strike out any batters, strike out, many times against righties, they're going to get some balls in play. They're going to get some hard hit balls with the high Sierra and ground ball rate that's very low. So Yeah, I'm all over the Phillies in this one. Just remember, there is going to be rain on the forecast, so we're going to hope that the rain kind of starts now and they start a little bit later, and then they play the full game. We don't want to see Eshelman come out of the game after 2 innings, and then have the bullpen come in. Although we know the Orioles bullpen isn't great, we'd rather Eshelman out there because the stats just show that the Phillies will destroy him.
And also keep in mind as well, when we're talking about rain, this isn't that normal Major League Baseball season where you just say, hey, we can just fill in a doubleheader. Time is of the essence now. With a lot of these teams canceled, the Phillies have so many doubleheaders already that are going to be set up down the road by missing a week of play. They're going to get this game in or at least make it full by 5 innings or more to make it an official game. They'll try their best. And it's good also, Jason, that it's a 4 or 5 start. So if you do have to delay, it's not as if you're delaying it from 7 to 9 o'clock at night. Maybe you delay from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. You could still get in a full game. Welcome into the chat box, Shaheem, Daniel, Adam, Alex, Nestor, Daniel, Neil P, NN860, Chad, Steven, everybody up in here trying to have some fun. And Neil P says this. Here's a little precursor. Kyle Hart, first game in the pros, I believe, going against the Rays in Glass now. Yikes. We might be calling him Kevin Hart by the end of the night. So just get ready for that one. And why don't we step up to the mic and get to that game right now? We'll keep it in chronological order today. A lot of times with most of the games later in the day, we go by a rotation. Today, we'll just go by time because we have a few afternoon games. 4:30 p.m. start, 9:57, 9:58. Glasnow versus Hart, the lefty on the mound. 64% of the tickets here, Jason, coming in on the Tampa Rays in this one. They opened up at 149, and that line is increasing. 155s, 156s. PointsBet out of New Jersey showing a 160. The over-under opened up at 9.5. That now sits 9 across the board. Wind blowing in at Fenway, not a ton, but again, it's a little bit better if the wind's blowing out 8 miles an hour than blowing in 8 miles an hour. So we'll see how that affects the game. But when we're taking a look at Hart, I know you did a lot of research in as well as I do. There's a lot of good, publications out here to get that background info because just because a guy is making his first major league start, sometimes he's a phenom, but sometimes you look at these statistics, Jason, and say, whoa, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold up in this one to see what happens. Take it away here on Hart and what you think about the prognostication between Tampa Bay and Boston here.
Yeah, so Hart was kind of lucky in his starts in AAA. 15 games, 3.86 ERA. So you look at that and you say, all right, a 3.86 ERA, not too bad at all. Had a solid whip of 1.26, not terrible at all for Hart. But then you look at his FIP numbers, and that's when it's like, all right, well, maybe he was a little bit lucky. It's over 5, right? So in AAA, he struggled with an FIP of over 5. So you come into the MLB against the Rays, who have a hot offense. They scored 8 runs or 9 runs yesterday, coming in pretty hot right now, going up against a guy making his major league debut. Obviously, there's going to be some pressure on him, and then you're also playing in Boston too. So that's kind of a park that hitters do enjoy hitting, and so then on the other hand, you have Glasnow, a guy that we look at it and say he's kind of the guy that we like to back as a pitcher. He's a guy with a high strikeout rate, plenty of swinging strikes, limits hard contact, gets a solid ground ball rate. Although the ground ball rate hasn't been great to start the season this year. Also, his walks have been pretty high this year as well. But I mean, this is a guy, when you look at his the bigger picture, Glasnow has been excellent, and he's a guy that you love to back as a better with all of his stats and his advanced stats and his ability to strike out batters and get at ground balls. So for me, the Rays at minus 155 seems like a great play this one as well. I think Glasnow is going to have an excellent game. And I would look at even taking the Red Sox under their team total with Glasnow on the mound. I think Glasnow really improves on this one. And I think there's no pressure on him going up against Kyle Hart. If the Rays can score a couple of runs, he can just kind of settle in and do what he's got to do. So for me, I like the Rays here at minus 155, and that might be an official play later on if the other game is delayed or postponed. But for me, I'm just going to stay steady right now and not make an official play. But it is something that I'm definitely leaning on.
Yeah, getting the full 9 at-bats up there at Fenway. I'm going to lean on Tampa Bay's team total over 5 for the game, once again provided from FanDuel. Question on this game here for you, Jason, from Randy Sorry in the chat box. Does Jason like Glasnow over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 115 today? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great number. Glasnow, again, talked about how he has the high strikeout rate on the slate. Also, he's getting plenty of swinging strikes. Hasn't started this year off well, but when it comes to striking out, he has 15.09 strikeouts per 9 innings in 3 starts this season. So yeah, he's averaging a ton of strikeouts on the season. He's not going deep in games, but I do think this is the game where he goes a little bit deeper, a lot less pressure on him, just able to go in there, settle in, and pitch like Glasnow pitches. So yeah, that's a good number. I would definitely take it.
By the way, also, this always comes up in the chat box here, and Jason and I both stress, and again, we do shows for sportsbookreview.com, which literally goes over each and every sports book and rates them. And the one thing that we always preach is get the best line possible, because in the long term, it's only going to be beneficial and help you out. Billy McMahon says, are you guys okay with 5.5 for the Phillies team total? I'll start off with this one. Look, it's great at 5 because it's not like you're dealing with basketball where it's like, hey, team total of 111. Well, there's a lot of points scored in the game. In baseball, a lot of runs is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 runs. So the difference between getting 5 and 5.5, the 5 is that benchmark that you're looking at where you could take that deep breath saying, you know what, I'm not going to lose the game, as opposed to the 5.5. But being a capper myself, I don't look at games where I'm saying, hey, you know what, I think the Phillies can get the 5. I honestly believe the Phillies will be close to double digits in this game. That's, hey, he's a fan or he's doing that. I'm not doing it that way. The way this game shapes up, but the Phillies just bring okay bats tonight with that bullpen that's stretched out for the Orioles. If the game does go 9 innings and the Phillies even only get 8 at bats, I think they're going to get 7, 8, or 9 runs tonight. I honestly believe that. But Jason, get to the point here since we have some time, when you always see that, like, hey, you know, we get it at 5, or hey, do you still like it at 5.5? Or same like football or any sport. Hey, you got it at 3. It's a 3.5. What do you think? You know, take it away a little bit on that.
Yeah, so we go back to yesterday. I had the under 4.5 at plus 125 in that Reds game, right? And now they got 5.5 at minus 110. Yeah, like I would much rather take that minus 110 and know that I have a little bit better of a chance at winning. So when it comes down to it, yeah, I'd rather the lower number than the higher number, especially like I wanted to see 4.5 when I took this game. Then I saw 5.5 and I was able to get 5 at William Hill, which is around 121, I think, at minus 121. But yeah, I mean, look, I'd much rather that 5, knowing, okay, it's a push. If you know, I'm basically playing to get over 4.5. I'll get that push at 5, but if they end up scoring one more run, like I think that they're capable of doing, then I'm in good shape. So that 5 is a solid number for me because I'm looking at 4.5. I just need them to get over 4.5, and then I can just relax. If they get another one, great. If they don't, get my money back, and I'm happy. 5.5, if they have 5 runs, you're looking for another run. You're biting your nails. You're pulling your hairs out, and that's not always very fun. Although I do think the Phillies will, like you said, score a bunch of runs. You do have the rain. You do have a potential where they can stop the game in the middle of the game. Eshelman comes out. The Orioles bullpen pitched well yesterday against the Phillies. So you just don't know. That's why it's always best to get the lowest line possible so that you can win your bet.
Absolutely. Art Benzio says, got Phillies team total at 5 and also Tampa first 5. And also get to know the sports books that you use as well. You don't have to go out and open up 37 different accounts, but some of these sports books that you are check on, and a lot of them do a pretty good job, which allow you to look around the sports book without actually depositing or actually creating an account. Because I know for myself, if I look at 5 Dimes Offshore, Jason, I know they have, let's just say, the team total for the Phillies at 5.5 plus 105. I know I can go back to either FanDuel, DraftKings, or another shot in New Jersey where that book is going to have like a over 5 minus 110 or minus 105 as the absolute flip. You'll get to know the tendencies of each sports book. So when you see those lines come up, you know you can work through about 2 or other 3 sports book and say, you know what, I think I can get the line I want, because the more that you have, and especially of being in New Jersey combined with the offshore books and also the obviously legal books, is you're going to get the number you want. I mean, obviously you're not going to say, well, I like the Phillies at 3.5. It's not going to be out there. But if you're looking at a number that says, boy, I see a 5.5, you can bet to yourself that you can get 5 somewhere else, or even 6 with that additional juice the opposite way. Always have those options open. You'll be a better gambler, more profitable over the next couple of years here. 959, 960, Jason. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Williams and DeSclafani. 75% of the tickets coming in on the hometown Reds today. Minus 177, they open up at Pinnacle, but now sit at 168, so a little bit of backtracking. If we're looking at 5 Dimes at minus 171, the over-under in this game is a 9. And I'm going to, usually when I look at, Trevor Williams pitching on the mound, I'm immediately going to go to the opposite side and say, I like the team total, or I think the team total can come home for the other team. 5.26 or a plus 5 xFIP from Williams. Not really doing the job from the right-hand side, but I'm going to take that out of the equation. And the reason being is I like the way DeSclafani has pitched this year. He's going against, to me, what I perceive as a weak lineup in the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think will be able to do the job. I'm going to go first 5 innings in this one, but I'm going to go run line with Cincinnati minus 120. Give me that 3-1 win after 5. I don't care what happens. I'm going to match up and say, you know what? I think Cincinnati will scratch some runs out against Williams, but I do think DeSclafani will keep those bats down for Pittsburgh. I'm going run line first 5 innings for the Reds. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, DeSclafani's been incredible in the first 2 starts. Remember, I took him earlier in the season with the under 4.5, and that cashed because he's allowed no runs in his 2 starts this season. But Williams, he's a guy that we always talk about as fade material. 0-3 on the season and 3 starts. Obviously, not getting the job done. But his last start versus the Twins went 7 innings, allowed just 1 run on 3 hits, and looked a lot better in that start. So it's a little nerve wracking looking at what Williams is capable of. Only has a 4.4 FIP, and you expect that to be higher out of Williams. So do we say that 4.4 regresses and he goes back to that 5-6 range where we're normally seeing him, or is he getting a little bit better, pitching a little bit better, like he dominated the Twins in his last start? And that FIP goes down after the start versus the Reds, who are a great offense, although they are better, especially on paper, they're better than the Pirates, of course. But yeah, Williams has allowed 12 hits in 15.1 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 7 runs, 14 strikeouts, and 5 walks, 9 ground balls and 9 flyouts in his last start. So getting some ground balls, and I don't think we're really used to seeing that out of Williams. So will be interesting to see how he performs against the Reds, who do have a lot of power, especially at the top of the order. So for me, I do like the Reds more than the Pirates. I'm not going to buy into Williams right now, even though we had a good start versus the Twins. So for me, Reds minus 180 and under 9 in this matchup. I will put a little bit of stock in what Williams has done lately and will say, okay, it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game with how DeSclafani's pitched and Williams, how he's been pitching recently.
Yeah, it's the same song I keep singing with the Pittsburgh Pirates here, because take a look at DeSclafani, a right-handed batter. On the season, when you take a look at Pittsburgh's overall numbers, I'm a big fan of the weighted on base average. Out of the 9 batters are going to have today, it's already a posted lineup, so I know exactly what I'm going to get. Colin Moran, the lefty, is at 385. He's the best by far heading away. Look at some of these other numbers. Stallings, 218. Dyson, 121. Gonzalez, 257. Polanco, 168. Reynolds, 215. Bell, 260. Newman, 187. And Frazier, 249. And keep in mind, the average for Major League Baseball weighted on base average is about 325. Those numbers are so low. I'm going to lean on this side and say, you know what? Just give me an average performance out of DeSclafani. Scratch me out some runs for the Reds, and I certainly think we can get back to business. 225 people watching, 15 minutes in the show. We do thank you for that. And again, if you want all content right here at sportsbookview.com, hit that little link below. SBRpicks.com/MLB. All Jason's information listed there. A lot of good writers, good video content. It's what we do here at sportsbookview.com, Major League Baseball. Let's keep it moving here. Thank you for the chat box again. Alex Daniel, Rob, Del Toledo, Rob Cook, Jared Schrader, Nestor Guillen, Billy McMahon, Alex. Let's get after it. Alex says, can't trust the Pirates winning. No kidding. You see their record? My goodness out here. 9:53, 9:54, Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. Anderson, the lefty, will be on the mound today with Yu Darvish. About a 50-50 ticket split, and not a lot of line movement here. Pinnacle Offshore at SBRodds.com opens up at a 170, still sitting in that same range. Chris also 170. 5 dimes at 165. Opened up at 8 and has now risen to 8.5. The wind is blowing in at Wrigley, but this isn't one of those north side games where it's 22 miles an hour blowing dead in. It's about 7 to 8 miles an hour, so not that big of an impact of what you might see when some of those numbers creep up when the wind is blowing out at 20 miles an hour or blowing in. So we'll see what takes place here. 2 decent pitching matchups in this one between Anderson and Darvish. It's just a matter of what you like best, and I know the joke that we're going to get is, hey, why don't we just ride that freight train that's the Cubs offense and take the team total over? It doesn't seem like a bad option. But when I look at this game, if you're trying to factor in how to take it over for me, I just look at that Milwaukee lineup. I'm waiting for them to wake up at this point. Burns, xFIP right around a 4. He's done a decent job between lefties and righties. Striking out, Jason, 38% of the batters that he's faced on the season, which is really good. But Yu Darvish also putting in some work to start this season. It's a game at Wrigley. The Cubs usually can hit. But you know what I'm thinking here? Give me the under 4.5 in the first 5 innings. Takes 5 to beat me there. I'll lean on the under here with the wind slightly blowing in, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, look, Yu Darvish has been incredible to start the season. Gets a high amount of strikeouts, low hard contact, also gets a solid ground ball rate. Went 7 innings pitched and allowed just 5 hits and 1 run versus the Royals, 4 strikeouts and 1 walk. So I really think that you're more looking at what Yu Darvish can do in this game, and Yu Darvish has been excellent. He struck out 16 and walked just 2 batters in 17 innings pitched, 4 earned runs on 13 hits. So on the season. So for me, yeah, Cubs minus 180. Probably look at under 8.5, but that's really just because the Brewers' offense has been struggling as of late. So yeah, I'd rely on Yu Darvish for this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. And again, we only have 5 games, so we're trying to give our best analysis on even if we don't love these games. But I'll lean on the first 5. under in this one, see if we get a decent pitching matchup. Those runs come later in the game. The nightcap here will go over 963, 964. That's going to be Paddock and Urias. 78% of the tickets here, Jason, coming in on the Dodgers. It seems like it's typically the case. They open up at 145, but not a lot of line movement here, around that mid-140s range from what we're seeing across the board. The line opened up offshore Pinnacle at 8. That now sits at 8.5. And if we get to the tail of the tape, Urias a little bit high on his xFIP here, but has done a decent job with his weighted on base average between lefty and righty batters. K percentage a little bit low at 16%, walk percentage a little bit high at 10%. But when we take a look at the opposite side, Chris Paddock, one of those future guys that we think is going to continue to improve and certainly be a success. He struggled a little bit this year so far with left-handed batters, and we do know you're going to face Peterson, Bellinger, Muncy, and at least Beatty in the lineup tonight from what we anticipate, but has done a nice job against the righties. So maybe he holds down Betts and Turner and Pollock and Taylor and those guys. I think this is one of those where you say sometimes, and I'm not particularly an underdog type player, but I sort of take the bullpens out of the equation where I think the Dodgers have the upper hand. A plus 120 first 5 wager on the Padres. I'm going to lean on going with that. And if I think they're going to win the first 5 innings, they're probably going to need to score at least 2 runs. I'm going to lean on the team total over for the Padres of 1.5. Little juicy at minus 130, but if I think they're going to win the first 5, I doubt it's going to be 1-0.
Yeah, see, I'm with you on the Padres. I think Padres have the edge here at plus 125. You're looking at Chris Paddock as underdog. How do you not look at it and say, yeah, I'm going to take it? But the better play, in my opinion, will be under 4.5 in the first 5. That's also an official play for me. These are guys that both have got ground ball rates above 42%. Paddock getting around 50%. Urias getting at around 42%. Both have FIPs below 4, 3.8 for Paddock and 2.83 for Julio. So yeah, I like both these pitchers. Urias has only allowed 4 earned runs in 15 innings pitched on 13 hits. Does have 6 walks, like you mentioned, 10 strikeouts. So those walks were not really a problem last season. So I think that it's going to regress, and he'll be fine moving on into this game. He gets a high amount of swinging strikes, limits hard contact well, just needs to limit walks better. 236 batting average this season against him. And then Paddock, on the other hand, he allows hard contact, but that's about it. He's given up 4 home runs in the first four games. Aside from that, he's been really solid. So when you look at his FIP, it's a 3.8. But that's because he's allowed 4 home runs. I don't think he's going to struggle with that throughout the entire season. Of course, the Dodgers, they do have a lot of home run threats, so that could continue into this game. But I'm going to bank on it not moving on into this game. I do know that Bellinger, I think Peterson, and Muncy all have home runs against Paddock in their careers already this season, or last season, or into this season. I know we might have played 1 game, but I think that both these guys are going to perform well in this game. Under 4.5 first 5 will be my play.
4 games today, Jason, that'll start before 5:10 Eastern time. One of them already underway between Washington and the Mets. Then obviously we know Baltimore, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Boston, and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Your time is money in the chat box, and we value that very much. Got through all these games. Now let's get to the final best bets and bankers. Just leaning on what I had over these first 5 games. Phillies team total over 5. Tampa Bay team total over 5. I have Cincinnati run line first 5 innings, minus 120. Milwaukee and Chicago under 4.5 in the first 5 innings. Then leaning on the San Diego Padres team total over 1.5 in the first 5, as well as a money line shot at plus 120 over the first 5. I know where Jason's going, so I'm going to leave this game up to him. So I'm going to downshift a second game for my banker. I'm 0-3 on my bankers here. No luck. I haven't been getting anything, but it doesn't matter. You only counted on your wins. And even if I sweep the card on these 5s, the banker is what matters the most. I'm going to go up to Boston, and I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to take their team total over 5 today in Fenway. I think they can stretch out this young kid again. Looking at his AAA, over 5 as an xFIP. He'll come up. He's probably going to have a short leash, which would be a longer bullpen game. Even though the wind is slightly blowing in from right field and Wrigley, I think the Rays will be able to touch them up and get 5 or more runs in this one to take home my banker. Jason, bets, and bankers, take it away.
Yeah, so we're going to go under 4.5 in the first 5 for the Dodgers and Padres game. That's the late game, and I believe it's on ESPN, so it's a national game. We could all watch it and enjoy tonight. But the banker for me is the Phillies over 5 team total at around minus 121. This one with Tom Eshelman on the mound against Jake Arrieta just seems like a game that the Phillies, after losing the first 2 against the Orioles, I do think the Phillies come out with a ton of offense in this one. So I'm excited to see what the Phillies can do in this one. So that's my banker and other official play And then also, I'm thinking about the Rays as well at -155. It's not an official play. It is a lean, but it's a hard lean. Might be an official play, might not be. I have to decide pretty quickly, so you'll see that on Twitter. But for now, it's not an official play. But if you want some more action today, the Rays, you could do what Donnie does doing, or you could take the Rays on money line -155 if you're feeling a little bit, if you want to take a little bit more juice. But yeah, those are my plays.
There we go, man. Wrapping it up right here. Getting you in and out in about 25 minutes is exactly what we do. And keep in mind tomorrow, full slate on Friday, Major League Baseball, 1:30 p.m. Me and Jason will be right back on here breaking down the card. And oh, yeah. How about the Mets and the Phillies get underway this weekend for a nice little 3-game series? I'm sure me and Jason will be back on that as well. I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz. This is SportsBookView.com. Thank you once again for tuning in. 250 people watching live in the chat box. Hit the link below, SBRpicks.com/MLB. Subscribe to the networks. We're doing big things, carrying you guys right in the football season. Today for Thursday, this was your Major League Baseball show right here on Sports.